We've been taught to believe that the elements are not in our control, that the world is not in our control, that we can't do anything as a result of whatever all the beliefs are in our head. It's understanding that you, not only do you have direct access to this information, you're born into this universe with this knowing. Humanity has created this dynamic of letting someone else fix it, right? And what that really is, it's a result of our fear. It's our fears that, again, have been strategically laid in our brains. As a result of that training, when we get these inspirations, you have to overcome significant challenges that often look like significant odds to actually participate in fulfilling that whole dynamic of why you were created, right? To explore your potential. It's remembering the strength of your power. It's not about power over others. It's about your contribution to the entire human experience right now. And the moment we all stop fighting and focusing on the political world and the governing rules, we're going to be able to resurrect our world. But we can't if we're so angry. Welcome back to the Authentic Human Podcast. I'm Michelle Vickers. This episode is live and unscripted because I'm communicating directly in real time with the Creator and the universal beings who created existence itself. This is part 29 of the story of creation. So let's see who's here today, who's going to share with us. So when you guys see me staring off into like what seems like space or different places, it's just because I'm turning my brain off and even more, and I'm allowing the universal beings and souls to come in and show me who's here. So with today we've got, oh, okay. So we've got angelics again, but we're going now to the second stream of angelics. So these angelics, they're all about experience. So they create experience. And obviously, there's a lot of different experiences that come just from participating in this universe. I mean, gravity is one example of an experience, is what they're showing me. And, it's understanding that gravity, okay, was created to bring certain aspects of existence together in very strategic ways to ensure the potential. So the way they're wording it is to ensure the potential of any given situation had the opportunity to reach fulfillment. So gravity was determined to be necessary when it became evident that in order for a human form, right? So a physical form rather than just a soul. So when it became evident that a human form they're showing me walking. So would walk on a structure such as a planet, that gravity would be the determiner of fate, if you will. And what happened was, from that awareness, this is long before humanity was created, but from that awareness, they were then able to create the dynamics of the elements, if you will. Okay. So before, it's really beautiful. So before elements were even considered, gravity had to be present. Okay. And this is really important, this dynamic, because it's understanding that gravity is what feeds the ability for the elements to fulfill their purpose. Okay. So water, for example, it wouldn't stick to the ground if we didn't have gravity, right? And all of the aspects of existence, like everything would be completely different. But they don't want to focus so much on that. They wanted you to see that bigger picture so that you can begin to understand that as a soul, okay, you would have this full awareness. You would have this full understanding of the basics and the fundamentals when you set an intention to create an aspect of your own existence or you create an opportunity. You would understand what are the fundamentals that we need first. Well, we need the opportunity to actually hold our existence. That's what gravity did, right? For the elements themselves and ultimately for human life and everything that exists here. But it's really important to understand that what they want to look at is your capacity to truly understand the depths of your power, okay? And the depths of what is actually in your control. Because we've been taught to believe that the elements are not in our control, that the world is not in our control, that we can't do anything as a result of whatever all the beliefs are in our head. But that's not the point. The point right now is it's understanding that you not only do you have direct access to this information, you're born into this universe with this knowing, okay? This awareness of it's the primal aspects of existence. They exist within you. And this awareness and this knowledge. And so when you have these inspirations, when you have these thoughts that seem to come out of nowhere, it's not true. They are coming from an awareness deep within you. Okay. I'm not talking about fears that bring in thoughts of, feeding all of these dramatic and devastation and trauma. That's a reaction to trauma. Okay. And that's completely different. What I'm talking about is when you get inspirations and awarenesses on how the human experience overall can be improved. Okay. And what I mean by that is you see something that isn't right. You instinctually know that that dynamic of life isn't right, but you also simultaneously understand how to make it right. Okay. This is not you sitting there going, well, it should be like this. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay. If that's coming from your anger and your fear and your resentment, right? I mean, that's what we've been taught to do is get angry at what everybody else is doing wrong so that nothing ever changes. What I'm talking about is your primal sense and your primal awareness of existence and your capacity to actually impact the evolution of existence, because that's what you were created to do. Okay. So as a soul, you were created to explore your potential. But ultimately, what that means is, right, when you're exploring potential, it means you're doing things continuously that haven't been done before. Okay. And so it's allowing yourself to participate. But the first step is understanding that you already are. And a lot of the time, our brains decipher those inspirations and those awarenesses. And then we get really overwhelmed with how hard creating that change is going to be in the world we live in. And then we feel overwhelmed. And then it's almost like you get this icky feeling, right? It's like, it's icky in the sense of, I want the change. I want to experience the change that I can see possible, but I don't want to do all the work to make it happen. Okay. And so as a result, humanity has created, if you will, this dynamic of letting someone else fix it, right? And what that really is, it's a result of our fear. It's our fears that, again, have been strategically laid in our brains. Okay. So if you imagine your brain as a grid, okay, and so the education system is strategically designed to ensure that that grid creates dynamics within you that ensure you second guess yourself, ensure that you need to prove yourself to others, and that you only feel good when other people are praising what you do. Okay. And so, as a result of that training, when we get these inspirations, you have to overcome significant challenges that often look like significant odds to actually participate in fulfilling that whole dynamic of why you were created, right? To explore your potential. And so what they're saying is they want you to begin to feel the depth of awareness that you carry as a soul, because this is the information. This is the reason for your existence. And it's time for you as a human on this planet right now. It's time for you to start pulling that awareness out, letting it be free, and start taking action on it. Start participating in a way that helps us recreate the world that we've always been meant to. This is the time of, it's not a rebirth, right? Humanity is not rebirthing. We are resurrecting the human experience. What does that even mean? It means this is the fifth experience of human life in this universe. Okay. The first four didn't work out so well. That being said, the fifth one, it's a little questionable right now. And yet that's why we're here. Every human that's incarnation right now knows what's going on energetically. Sometimes it's really hard for our brains to accept that we know. And that's not really what's important right now. What's important is understanding that when you remember that you're here for a reason because you feel these inspirations, now's the time to act. Okay? Now's the time to begin the journey. You know, years ago, this is, 25 years ago, I remember seeing this gentleman. He was an astrologer, and he pulled up my chart and he told me a bunch of things. And I'm not mentally, I don't have a lot of awareness of astrology at all. I haven't done a lot of, but he said, there's a stellium, and he said, this is so cool. There's like 5 planets in your sign when you were born. And he goes, this is so rare. And I was like, okay. And then he said, you're like Noah, you're going to build an ark and people are going to go, what are you doing? What are you thinking? What are you doing? And they're going to call you crazy and they're going to call you all the things. But then there'll be a moment where it will all make sense. And what they're saying and why they wanted me to share that story with you is because it's time for you to become Noah. It's time for you to build your ark, because that's what all of humanity is meant to be doing right now. There is a reason. Maybe you want to change the aspect of how people eat in hospitals, because you understand that it is not serving healing. Maybe your dynamic is helping people understand how children learn. Maybe it's about helping people understand the truth about getting pregnant, gestating, giving birth, all of that. It doesn't matter. Everything is important. Let's put it this way. If you have the awareness, it is because you're meant to do something with it. And it's time for you to stop second guessing the awareness that you have. Okay? This is what's going on right now. Is it's your time. And it's your time to recognize your strengths, recognize your weaknesses in the sense of, okay, so this is what I want to do. And these are the things that I'm going to need to do that, but I don't have them. So instead of going, well, I don't have them, and here's all the reasons why I can't do it, and justifying, what they're saying is figure out what you don't have and what you need, and then participate and partner with the universe and let them show you how to bring that into fruition. That's your superpower. Your superpower is literally to partner with the entire universe to bring these aspects of your inspiration into existence so humanity can thrive again. Everything you have within you is necessary. You're meant to touch the hearts of millions, probably even billions of people. But the reality is, it doesn't mean it has to look like a business. It doesn't have to look like anything. It just needs to come from your heart. And then it will impact humanity. And that's where we are. It's remembering the strength of your power. It's not about power over others. It's about your contribution to the entire human experience right now. And the moment we all stop fighting and focusing on the political world and the governing rules, we're going to be able to resurrect our world. But we can't if we're so angry. So what they're asking you to do is to put your anger in a jar, put a lid on it, screw it on tight, put it in the back of the cupboard right now. Okay? We can deal with it later. What you need to do is take your entire focus and focus on what you're meant to be doing. And when there are challenges that arise, because there will be a lot of challenges, remember, you're participating in resurrecting the entire human experience. There's going to be challenges. And every time there's a challenge, I want you to buckle down. Come back to that place of knowing that your superpower is participating in the resurrection of humanity. It is not giving up and justifying all the reasons you can't do what you're meant to do. It's about asking the universe how you can do what you're meant to do. Okay? Think about it. Just me telling this story of creation, right? This is my arc. This is my arc. And yet, I don't know. I don't know how many people will inevitably listen, but it doesn't matter because I'm choosing to participate and I'm learning. I'm fulfilling my promise to myself. That's how this works. Okay? Go and fulfill who you're meant to be. Explore your potential. And instead of getting frustrated and feeling overwhelmed with what you can't do, allow yourself to hold that truth and hold that awareness that you're meant to be doing it. The entire universe is going to support you, but you're going to have to participate. That's what it comes down to. Okay? Thank you so much for tuning in today. And I'll see you next time for part 30. Bye for now.
I had this interesting idea that ADHD
Yep.
um, could be very caused, maybe not the right word, by our avoidance of our true power. That if
Okay.
we stay scattered and, here, there, and everywhere, and we're all multitasking, doing a million things, that it disperses our energy and allows us to sort of remain victim and at the power of the universe, external, rather than just, taking command of our ADHD is the extreme of that we're all doing. I mean, not even that extreme these days, but it's it's a spectrum of how much do we want to center ourselves and be in charge of our lives.
Yes.
And you didn't say that today, but it flashed because I could see myself in that.
And for me, whenever I've pondered the concept of ADHD, because it's come in so often, is it's we're living, it's a result of not living how we're meant to live, right? So
Okay.
it first shows up often in school because we're not supposed to sit in class, right? We're not supposed to sit inside. We're not. We're not. That's not how we learn. We learn through experience. So, you know, it's a result of participating in life in a way that goes against our natural instincts and way of being.
My parents recently, not even a year, maybe a year ago, they moved into a retirement home. And Lord, I see the whole structure and system in that, and how horribly it works. And it's just there to make money, of course. And then how they feed them, the food that they feed them, and all that whole thing. So of course I feel a lot of, I think this, I've thought a lot about, this is not how we need to help the people age. They need to age in a more environment surrounded by greenery, not surrounded by concrete, where they can go outside, where they can garden, they can have life in them.
You have to talk
Instead
to
of,
Cindy in our community because Cindy is right on the exact same page. She's
yeah,
passionate about this. But here's the thing, okay? You can't fix it for your parents. I need
right,
to, right.
yes,
However, remember the experiences that we're having are shaping our potential. Okay.
right, yeah,
So you're learning so much about the system and where it's not working. Right. And part of you you know, is recognizing that you're going to be in that position in a number of years and you want to have a better experience. Okay. So your job is to go, well, if I want to have a better experience, I darn well need to create it now. Right. So that's where you go, okay, what can we do? And don't, when it gets big and you're like, holy crap, this is too big, your job isn't to shrink it down. Your job is to go, okay, universe, show me how this can happen because I know this is meant to happen. And it's holding that truth. Remember, intention becomes energy, becomes experience. If you hold that intention without ever entering, right, the negativity into it, the judgment, the resentment, then it will keep growing. It's when we add the judgment and the negativity in that it drops back and you have to pull it back up again. And this is why we are on that up and down, up and down, up and down, right? Seesaw. So just right now, like they were sharing today, let the awareness come. And what I love to do, and this is what I've done from the beginning, is if it was the best experience possible, what would it look like? And then I dream. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this conversation and want to learn more, head on over to michellevickers.com. Join our mailing list to receive new episodes right to your inbox or apply to be a guest on the show. If this episode made you think of someone while you were listening, forward the link onto that person with a little note about why it made you think of them, because the greatest gift you can give another human is to see the beauty and purity of who they truly are. Until next time, stay curious.